Board of Supervisors. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the November 8, 2016 regular meeting and the November 14, 2016 canvass of the November 8, 2016 general election.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 1.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 1 carries. Item number 2 is to receive and place on file drainage repairs. We have one, drainage district number 82, Colfax section 2. We have a plugged main tile in the northwest section, and it was turned in by Gary McCarthy.
Move the drainage repair, Mr. Chairman. Second is motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 2 carries. Item number 3 is Dr. Kinney with Iowa Central Community College.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me today. I kind of wanted to come and talk to you guys a little bit about kind of what's happening around Iowa Central, but also a little bit about what's coming up here in the near future on December 6th. Iowa Central celebrates our 50th year, but really we go further back than that. We go back to Fort Dodge Junior College, Webster City, and Eagle Grove back in the 20s. So really we have a lot longer history, but the 50th celebration that we're just ending this year is to the Merged Area Community College Act of 1966, where it really merged all the community colleges together and it really gave us each our own district, where we added a number of counties to the west of us into our service area. So a lot of great things still happening in Iowa Central. We saw an enrollment increase of this year, up 1.5%, which is really good. We look at our counterparts across the state, we're seeing a lot of declines in a lot of the community colleges and really across the nation, but we continue to grow, which I think is exciting because if you really look at some of our high schools and what's happening in our region, you know, we have a lot of high school classes are getting smaller. My daughter's class, she's a senior this year. Jim Kirsten's daughter graduated about 8 or 9 years ago with about 80 in her class. This year, Paige graduates with 40. Good news, it's coming back up. Our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades are starting to see that incline again. So we see that. That comes and goes every year. We're through some of those. But I think the big thing is what we're here to do is really help to continue the jobs. You know, we've got a lot of still unfilled jobs within our region itself, and how do we continue to push forward and get that moving forward to fill those and keep our youth in our community, I think is most important. We are wanting to go out our 50th celebration with a bang. On December 6th, we're asking our local voters to support a $29.5 million bond issue. And I'm going to cover a few of those items here, but I want to kind of set the stage a little bit how our state funding really comes in. If you look back in '67 when the Community College Merged Area Act was done, students paid about 18% of our revenues came from students, which was about 18%, about 22% from our local taxpayers, and about 60% from the state of Iowa. Really shifted through the last few years. Today, our students account for over 61% of our revenues. Local taxpayers are down around 4% mark. And then the state general aid really dropped in about half. They're down to 31.52 to be exact. I know those figures too well. So it's really shifted through the years. And unfortunately what that's done is put a lot of the burden on our students themselves. You know, budget planning for us, you know, it's a struggle. The inconsistency of our state general aid up and down. Last year we had an increase, which, you know, thank you to the legislators. We had a 1.5% increase. New money to Iowa Central, $120,000. Just do raises on our campus, which we didn't do anything outrageous, just a little under 3% on average, cost us $750,000. So already started with a budget of $630,000. How do I make that up? Unfortunately, that always has to go back to student tuition and fees. So we increased our student tuition last year to $9. And that's the most since I've been here, and probably historically one of the most higher years that we had. So. But part of this funding also comes is we get no infrastructure, and that's where this bond issue comes in. You know, unfortunately, you know, our state general aid helps to cover our expenses themselves, but we get no infrastructure. So within that $120,000 in the deficit I started with, how do I upkeep my buildings? How do I get moving? How do I add different things within our campuses? And unfortunately, if you really look at the funding in the state of Iowa, right now the region's institutions per pupil receive approximately $11,000 per head. Community colleges, 24. Big difference here. And unfortunately, the privates even make a little bit more than us. They're just right around $4,000 per head that they receive through state general aid too, through the Iowa tuition grant that they receive. So there's been some inconsistencies there. And, as we move forward, we want to really continue. Our growth, as I said, has stayed really steady. It's been really good the last few years. Back, if you guys remember, 9, 10, and 11, we had a big spike in enrollment. I don't want to ever see that again. And here's why. Electrolux closed down. So we took a lot of displaced workers, brought them back into our system, which was great. And we're able to keep them in our communities and find other jobs for them through the training dollars that they receive. But really look at us around that 50. We're right now this year, we're at 5,718 students. And we stayed right around that 5,700 mark. If you take out the Electrolux years, we've really stayed pretty consistent there. And that's where it really kind of gets to what we're trying to do. The other thing I think that's really important is that people that we touch in our region. We touch over 21,000 individuals throughout our region each year. And that's outside the education, the credit education that we do through non-credit, through skill training upgrades, working with our local business industries, working with our local fire departments, a lot of rural fire departments out there and helping them get through their training and their certifications. And why that number is a little significant, Des Moines Area Community College reported 25,000 people last year. Iowa Western, 18,000. Kirkwood was about 35,000. Where are they all located? Metropolitan areas. So we really do touch a lot of lives in our region, the 9 counties that we serve throughout our district. So on the bond issue, we are asking voters to support a $29.5 million bond issue. And this really goes to all our infrastructure. We don't really have other avenues to add additional infrastructure or upgrade our current infrastructure. And number one is safety. In light of what's happening across our nation, I think one of our number one goals is to make sure our students are safe on our campus. This will allow us the ability to add additional cameras, upgrade our locks and our door locks, upgrade our lighting, cameras, all those type of things will really help. We have a very safe campus, but we can't rest on that. We've got to continue those upgrades to make sure that those students and really community members that show up on our campus day in and day out are safe. So we want to continue to do that. And this will really help us increase our infrastructure. We're K-12, can really kind of lock down to one door during the day. It's hard for a college to do that. We have over 100 exterior doors, and if we had to go into a lockdown situation, we have to go out and lock every one of those doors. With this type of system, we want the ability to push one button, we're locked down, and our students are safe in regards to that. The other big one that we're really looking at is career academies right now. We started North Central Career Academy 3 years ago. This is really the second true year of operation for the North Central Career Academy. And that's been a great addition to us because it allows us to really work with these high school students, getting them into career tracks, career pathways to look at jobs that are serving our area. How we create these, it's not just we decide the programs and what we're going to do. We work with local business and industry to find out what skill trades they're needing in that area. We talk to the superintendents, we work with them, and that's been a great addition to us. Now what we want to do with this bond issue, add 2 additional career academies. One would be down around the Laurelville area, which would cover what we call the southwest region of us, and then up around, we're looking at kind of Lorenz, Albert City, which will cover the northwest. We've already worked with businesses up there, but this will allow us to add 2 more career academies, so every high school student in our region will have the ability to attend a career academy of their choosing and the tracks within to help hopefully keep them in their area. Plus, those students can attend those academies for free. It's through supplemental weighted dollars that the school districts receive in the state. So it really helps when student debt is continuing to increase. It really allows us the ability to help those families make it cost effective as they start going into transferring off. So we're excited about the career academies. So, the one we have, intact now. I had a mother call me one day and she was so excited. Her son went from a CD student to an AD student. Not every student can sit there and be in a lecture class, wants to be in those. They want the ability to be hands-on with the welding or the advanced manufacturing, the bioscience technology we have up there, the hands-on in there. So we're real excited about those. The other big one is really looking at student success. Across the nation, on average, approximately between 50 to 60% of the students really only graduate, even from universities or community colleges. How do we get that to the next level? This bond will allow us to be able to create a success center for our students to bring all our services together. Right now, we have a lot of services across our campus, but unfortunately, they're disjointed. Unfortunately, when a student walks in who's already tough to make that decision because they're struggling in classes, they don't want to admit it, but to walk into office and find out, well, sorry, you're in the wrong office, you need to go tell your story again over here, is very hard. So we're trying to make this to where we're bringing services together. This year we did a study on 960 students that had been there for 6 semesters, or a 2-year school, they should only be there for 4 semesters. We did a study on those. Here's what these individuals look like. Around a 2.0 below GPA. A lot of them were first-generation students. We're finding out they don't have the resources at home. They don't understand how to navigate the college campus that we have out there. The other one, what do you think their major was? Undecided. They're bouncing around. We're not catching them within our current system. So right now we're in the process of doing some mapping of our processes and how they work, adding some additional software that's going to help us guide them through, get into a clear pathway. That's really what we need in this region. If you look at healthcare in some of the areas, 1,000 jobs that we have unfilled right now in our region, the ability to fill those, we have to keep our youth in our region. Plus, we want to continue to grow to keep our region up and going. Other one that we have in here is a remodeled Decker auditorium. It was built in 1978 and it's never had any major remodel in that facility. We're starting to run into issues with our electrical into there, our sound. These facilities, Iowa Central, said we're 50 years old. Some of them are 40 years old. You know, they weren't built for the technology and what we have. We want to upgrade Decker Auditorium, which is used by, you know, thousands of people. I mean, we have over 100 different events each year within that auditorium. Not only the college events, but local community events. It's one of the larger venues around our region. We were able to host that. This last weekend with the honors flight, they were able to host that in Decker Auditorium, so that was a great addition. We got to continue to try to upgrade onto that. And really, the final part of this bond is just general updates. As I said, a lot of our buildings are old. Our applied science and technology building, we're maxed out on electrical capacity here. We added a robotics automation program a couple of years ago as businesses were really looking at automation, and we maxed it out. Unfortunately, a lot of our panels, I said earlier, our panels are loaded, but the problem is they're out of date. We can't find parts on those. Our heating and air on some of our older buildings, windows, roofs, just general upkeep. Plus trying to make the classroom more an adaptive learning classroom. So they're not lecturing like I'm doing to you guys today. It's their interactions in there with individuals. Because unfortunately this generation's lost some of that interaction because of cell phones. And so trying to do that. So $7 million of that is just really doing a lot of that to keep all our campuses up and going. We have built in a reserve of $1.5 million because we're out talking to voters about it, and I want to make sure we do what we're going to say we're going to do. So we have built some reserve in there because this will be over a period of time by the time we get any construction or renovation done. So bonds will be sold at separate times. So if there's inflation of materials, we're accounting for that right now. One of the big questions I think I get a lot when I go out is, you know, how much is this going to cost? On a home that's assessed value of $100,000, it's $1.04 a month. What can you buy for $1.04 these days? I can't get out of a convenience store for $1.04 these days. So it's $1.04 on a $100,000 assessed home. Really that accounts to $12.49 for the full year. We'll build these bonds, we sell them on 20 years, so it'd be for 20 years. Once this bond is paid off at that time, those fall off. Now, we don't use all the money. You know, we don't buy out the bond. The max we'll be able to do would be $29.5 million would be the max that we'd be able to do. On agricultural land, it's averaging out about 24 cents per acre per year. So, small investment to our youth, to our communities, and to our region, but a large opportunity for Iowa Central to keep serving this region for the next 50 years. So, that being said, questions, I think that's the fastest I've done this presentation, Bob. That's all for you, because I think you might fall asleep on it. So. No, I'm just kidding. You'll vote for it. Questions?
I'm a little surprised when you say that they don't allocate enough funds or significant funds or any funds, whatever, for upkeep. I mean, that seems ridiculous.
Region institutions have the opportunity to apply through the budget process for infrastructure. Community colleges do not. We've not ever had that opportunity. That's pretty common in a lot. I mean, Iowa's not any different than most states. Most of the states I've been there, they're not any different, you know, in regards to that. So, you know, that is a kind of normal practice across that because they're a little bit more state ran with the board of governors that universities have, where community colleges tend to be a lot more local control. So so we've never had that infrastructure money.
The local school districts have a specific fund.
Keppel, they have a couple funds that they can that there are taxes out there, the
But
ability
you
to
don't
do
have
that.
that freedom, or you don't.
You know, we do not have those type of freedoms.
I see.
And the PEPAL, I mean, I think it helps the school districts out, but I don't think it's a lot of money in your PEPAL. I mean, you think about Fort Dodge Community School Districts, just passed their bond a year ago. I know Jefferson's been looking at, or Green County, I should say, has been looking at one. So,
Any other questions or comments? All right.
okay, I did lay it out in front of you guys. I think you guys know where to go vote, but absentee ballot request form for the December election. Anybody out here want one? I'm gonna hand them out anyway, so, but you know, I'm gonna go over that. So, guys, thank you for your time today. If you have questions, don't hesitate to give me a call.
All right, great.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Was that a good time?
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Yes.
I told you I wouldn't do my hour and a half presentation for you, Bob. So. Thanks, guys.
The next item on the agenda is item number 4, to receive and place on file wage adjustment for staff approved by the Board of Health on November 3rd, 2016. A copy is available in the auditor's office.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a
See, I
second.
wasn't
Any
that one, so
questions
you
or
didn't have
comments?
to get any. Well, I mean,
All in favor? Opposed? Item 4 carries. Item number 5 is to approve wage increase for Sarah Feldman, targeted case manager from $22.92 to $23.72 per hour, effective November 26, 2016.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Item 5 carries. Item number 6, receive and place on file manure management plan for Geisler site in section 9. I'm sorry, item number 6. Receive and place on file manure management plan for Geisler site in section 9, Gowrie Township.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 6. That's item 7.
7.
Please give us 6.
There was a corrected
Yes,
agenda.
we corrected agenda.
Okay.
It's not.
Item number 6 is to accept and place on file the hiring and employment of Erica Lortz, Program Coordinator, Administrative Assistant, at the rate of $13 per hour, effective November 21st, 2016, per recommendation of Carrie Prescott, Director of Public Health.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 6. Second.
I have a motion and a second for item number 6. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6 carries. Item number 7, receive and place on file manure management plan for Geisler site in section 9, Gowrie Township.
I'll move item 7.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Item 7 carries. Item number 8 is to review/approve D and L Heatherington subdivision described as part of Lot 15, Madson's taxation plat of the north one-half of the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 11, Township 88 North, Range 29 West, Webster County, Iowa.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we review the subdivision.
We have a motion and a second. Lonnie?
This subdivision is what we divided into 4 lots. There is existing farmland, which is good farmland, and we want to keep it in production, but it is in the R2 zoning district, just south of 230th Street. And it's an area that's in between 2 existing residential developments that are on the south side of 230th. Staff is recommending approval of this, and this has also passed the City Planning and Zoning Commission as well as the City Council last night. So it's approved there. It's within the 2-mile radius of the City of Fort Dodge, and the appropriate communications and plat has been laid out to take that into consideration in the case that annexation would ever occur. And the applicant is here if they're
Since you're more familiar,
Yeah,
where exactly is it?
It's just west of Kansas Avenue and south.
Don't give me,
Dr.
don't,
Thomas, Dr. Thomas.
the vet, it's right by there, right?
Well, yeah, Town and Country Veterinary Clinic.
Yeah.
It's actually on the south side of that street right there.
Okay.
Well, the street that's on the south side of the Town and
Yeah.
Country. Yeah, it's on the south side of that street there. It's, basically, this all started, was approached about selling a lot right there. And all I wanted to do was square up my field so I didn't have to zigzag in and out around the houses. So I thought, well, I'll kill two birds with one stone, and I'll eliminate that and sell a lot, so.
It's really just an extension somewhat or add-on to Saturday fishing.
Yeah,
That's
it's,
all.
like I said,
I want
it's
to
right
follow.
between two houses, that
Exactly.
existing houses there, and it's 400 and whatever, 460 feet long or something like that. So I can make 4 lots in there, and I thought, well, I'll try it and see what happens.
Well, thank you.
Did you get the discrepancy on the plat fixed?
Yes, I think that was a discrepancy on the GIS layer, the way they did that, instead of the actual survey.
Excellent. Any questions?
No, just comment that we encourage that good use of the land and make it, things available for potential home builders.
Well, and yeah, I guess the question is, came up before, like with the city and everything else, about developing more of it. Well, I have no intention of developing any more of that field. All I want to do is square up my field, so that,
Sounds good.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Well,
Opposed?
we need a motion, because all my motion was to review, how to accept.
All right.
I'll move that we approve, accept, or accept, as per item
I have a motion.
3.
Actually, Lonnie has prepared a resolution to record.
So it's,
That's the resolution right now.
So we need a motion to accept the
The
resolution.
resolution.
Also move.
I'll second.
Would you like to read it?
If you can,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, don't you read that?
listen, if Dan Kinney can talk for 15
Yeah.
minutes, so can you.
Whereas Dennis and Lila Heatherington has filed for approval a final plat of D and L Heatherington subdivision, a minor subdivision of real estate located in section 11, township 88, range 29, Webster County, Iowa, which is more particularly described in the surveyor's certificate accompanying the plat, and whereas said plat is accompanied by a certificate acknowledging that said subdivision is by and with the free consent of the proprietary owner, and whereas the Webster County Planning and Zoning Administrator has reviewed the preliminary plat and recommends approval of said plat, whereas the City of Fort Dodge Planning Commission and City Council has held public meetings and recommends approval of said plat, whereas said plat and attachments thereto have been examined by the Webster County Board of Supervisors and appears to conform to the requirements of the Webster County Comprehensive Plan, Webster County Zoning Ordinance, and Subdivision Ordinance of Webster County, and the requirements of other ordinances and state law governing such plats. Now, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors, Webster County, Iowa, that said plat is hereby approved.
Very nice.
So since it's a resolution, will that be a roll call?
Yes, sir.
Inkle, aye.
Buckler, aye.
Campbell, aye.
Singer, aye.
Fletcher.
Item number 8 is approved. Kenny, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bob's got to send this.
You're the secretary. Item number 9, review construction permit application and matrix scoring of Hanson site in section 5, Roland Township for 2 new 2,480 head deep pit swine finisher confinement buildings for a new site, for a new swine confinement facility. Do I have a motion to bring to the
I'll
table?
Oh.
I'll move 9. I don't know where we're at.
So I have a motion and a second. All right. Item number 9. You want to start?
I didn't review this one.
Mark and I went out and looked at the site, and everything was laid out where it to be, so.
This one's out in the middle of the field.
Yeah, as far as
We're more than 300 feet from the road,
Okay,
but I'll tell you exactly how far we are.
all right.
It looks like it's 1,150 feet from the road.
Yeah.
Becky, what's the total points on the matrix? I didn't have time to add them up.
We took 440 points, just
440.
because we didn't need to take any more than that.
This is now also the time for the public to have any questions or comments on the application permit for matrix scoring at the Hanson site in section 5, Lowland Township.
Rick, I couldn't, I'm against this because it's too close to where I live. And this matrix is not correct on a lot of things. It's too broad. It doesn't take into effect how close you are to the dredge that is existent there, which enters into a larger body of water. And the comment, the last time I was here, was that these hog bellies do not smell, but that's not true. They do smell. I've got one just south and east of me still, and I can, on a hot summer day, I can smell that place with no problem. And this is going to be closer to my place, which should, you know, it should enter into something, you know, because like Mike Pearson said, it's his right to do whatever he wants with his property. Well, what about my rights of the Clean Air Act, you know, Act and everything? We should be able to, you know, have limited smell. Now I'm going to get more smell, and when it's getting knifed in, it smells like crazy. You know, when they pump it out and when they're knifing it in. And also, this is all being done on property that's not legally transferred yet.
Can I comment on that?
Yes.
Okay, so these barns
Can
will,
you step up? Thank you.
these barns will actually be 1,170 feet from that water source he was referring to, that dredge ditch. And we will be 1,450 feet north of the roadway. So, we are over, the separation distance from his home. We have to be, 1,875 feet to his home, and we are, I think, 2,610 feet to his homestead. We understand your concern, we do, and we will do everything we can to make this as
Well,
easy.
and something else about that, it's going to be real close to that power line. And has the power company signed off on that too?
The power company doesn't need to sign off on that. We just have to be cognizant of where the power line is, and we just have to be cautious of where we put our barns.
Because see, that power line has got so much of that strip lot.
Yeah, and we're off of that strip. We're not on that strip. We're not on their easement acres. We're not on their easement acres at all. So we're not on their property line. So we've already looked into that.
I asked that question.
And the easement has already been, or the agreement has already been signed for us to purchase this ground, from the landowner. to
And the
actually-
landowner doesn't even own it yet. They don't have legal title to it yet.
Well, but there's an agreement on purchasing.
Agreement, yes.
Yes. So through that agreement, he can still sell what he's buying.
But still, you know, the board is acting on something that's not even legally transferred yet. And that's my.
Let me ask you a question along that line. That was one of my questions is, when that happens, the permit you get from the DNR, won't it be contingent on that sale, that
Correct.
transfer?
Everything has to
So
be
you're not gonna
approved
start
and
building,
everything.
you can't build, you can't do
Yeah.
anything
No, not
until
until that's
that's.
taken care of.
that's
All that's
transferred.
gotta be
It has to be
perfectly
transferred into his
correct.
name first. Not only from the DNR standpoint, but also from his lender standpoint. So we have to actually make it happy for both sides. So we have not only the legal authorities to make happy, but also your lender always. And most generally, as you guys know, your wives. So, you know, you always have to make your wife happy too, so. But yeah, so I mean, that's
Thanks for
basically.
that.
Well, I always want to make sure you remember that though, so, yeah. 'Cause you know, I mean, that's.
Right or wrong, that's the way the process works,
And it-
because if we're making to buy the property until I know I can build them.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, we wouldn't have paid the money to actually, he wouldn't have paid me to do this paperwork. We wouldn't have paid the fees to the DNR to actually do all this, because once we pay the fees to the DNR, we don't get any of that money back if we decide not to build this. He doesn't get any of the money back he paid me to do the paperwork. So he's not gonna do any of this unless he knows this is gonna be something that's gonna go through. So,
You have to have a clear title before you do it.
yeah, he has to have a clear title before he can go through.
In which, for example, may not be for quite a while since the one of the line went passed away.
Then he can't build
And,
until that's.
yeah, we're not gonna worry about that today.
He can't build, the bottom line is he can't build the property until he's the owner.
Exactly. So, I mean, if it takes him 6 months to get clear title, then it'll be at least that long before he actually starts his construction project. Because we have to actually meet all of the criteria before we can build too. So he has to be cautious about that as well.
Any other questions or comments on the Hanson site in section 5?
Oh, continue from before. This is one Bill Barr, deputy.
Okay, we have a written comment.
And what we're doing today is proving that it did pass the 440 points with all of it. That's what we're doing. It did pass the 440.
All right, moving on to item number 10. Action on construction permit application for matrix scoring of Hanson site in section 5, Roland Township, and the county recommends to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources.
Nice recommendation.
Might want to put the agenda. How many days? How many days?
Do these.
To make.
I'll move item 10.
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second to make the recommendation to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources that we agree with the scoring on the Hanson site in section 5, Roland Township.
And before, we said that, well, I guess it's okay with the scoring, we're agreeing with the scoring. We didn't, one of the other ones we rescored, we had to say what our new score was. So this one, we're just agreeing with the matrix. I would point out, I think we're all aware of the arguments for and against, but our job, again, is just to review the matrix as it is under the law today. Whether we agree with that law or not, that's our job today. So, I agree that there isn't anything that we find wrong with the scoring for this property today.
And we'll pass on the objections.
And the objections go, and I'll just put in there again that the problems at the State House, if you have problems, contact your legislators.
Okay. Any further questions or comments on item number 10? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 10 passes. Item number 11 is to approve final plans for bridge replacement project FMC 094-104-5594 on 210th Street over Gypsum Creek, an authorized project to be led by the Iowa Department of Transportation on February 21st, 2017.
Tim.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on item number 11?
Just, this bridge replacement project has been in the planning stage and process for a few years. It's in our current accomplishment year. Some of the challenges we've had is it's close proximity to railroad and along an adjacent property owned by United States Gypsum. And then there's also some overhead utilities with Mid-America. We now have resolved all these issues, and I recommend that you approve this plan and authorize the DOT to let the project. We have to submit this by the 22nd next week to meet the schedule for letting in February 21st, 2017. And this project will be paid by the county's farm to market funds, and $100,000 will be reimbursed to the road department from the Trails Committee, because this bridge, in addition to going over spanning Gypsum Creek on the south side, we did allow for a 10-foot bike path in that special design, and that $100,000 helps offset those costs. I would envision that the project would be let February, and then successful bidder, hopefully we'll have multiple bidders, and the project hopefully will be completed toward the end of 2017.
questions or comments on item number 11? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 11 carries. Item number 12 is to receive and place on file resignation of Scott Lick, Class A equipment operator in Secondary Road Department, effective November 8, 2016.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 12 carries. Item number 13 is to approve and authorize the county engineer to fill the vacancy in Secondary Road Department due to the resignation of Scott Lick.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 13. Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 13 carries. Item number 14 is to approve the transfer of $31,936.11 from Secondary Road Department 0020 to Debt Service Fund 2000 for payment of interest due December 1st, 2016 for debt services schedule on general obligation urban renewal capital loan notes, Series 2016B, effective July 29, 2016.
Chairman, I move item 14.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 14 carries. It is now the citizens' opportunity to address the board with items not on the agenda. Board of Supervisor Committee reports.
Brief comment concerning DOT meeting was a couple weeks ago. And that's, has some bearing, if you will, on Highway 20. For what it's worth, the current budget for the building is $248 million, and the actual is $233, so there's a $15 million savings. How that applies to us is that the comment from one of the head engineers to me personally was that we are, because of good weather, because of a variety of things, that are slightly ahead of schedule, but more importantly, they're in good shape financially. So that it's full steam ahead. There is significant optimism that this thing will be completed in 2018. It's also noteworthy that the 5-year plan, which is a very important document for the DOT in terms of planning ahead, is at the moment it's being slowed in or is delayed, and that's because of a funding study for Highway 30, which ultimately, if there's no funding study put in, then nothing happens there. There is significant wrangling among the commission, which is not normal for that particular item. So it is it's a very interesting, it is a very interesting dilemma to see what's been. It's just, we ought to be thankful that we're going forward, no problem for us here. That's fine.
I have a question for Mr. Singer and Engineer Will. Are you aware, or do you know, is there plans to continue the road replacement on Highway 20 further east of where they stopped this? There's a section between that and
Do you have certainty on that?
I'm not aware if we're going any further than that. I am aware that they're going to do the same replacement on the north side. Excuse me, yeah, on the north side. That's what they did on the south side, starting in the spring, but I'm not aware of going further.
Right. Yeah, I'm in the same category as Bob. They last work week, they opened up the eastbound. And so come next construction season, be it March, April, they'll do the opposites, 2 lanes. And then I believe, I didn't talk to anybody with direct authority, but they've already built a crossover farther.
Yeah, that's what I know.
And so it's led to believe that they'll have 3 more years. Next year to finish the opposite, and then go farther east and do 1 lane in one direction and flip it over. It does need it.
Yeah.
But I can't speak with certainty on behalf of the DOT, but I'm pretty sure that that's their plan.
All right. Anything else?